A memorable date mentioned by OpenAI was that AGI, which is a type of artificial intelligence that will be everywhere, is set to be released in January. Artificial intelligence is supposed to appear everywhere we are, in every device we have. And the first news from AI innovations is that Google has signed a deal with Samsung, which is interesting because until now we had Apple Vision Pro, we had glasses, or we had huge glasses that immersed us in the world of virtual reality. But now, what Google has done is create glasses that enhance the current reality. See for yourselves. Android XR is a product that will add to our real world what we can see more of in it. Like, for example, if we want to find the location of a restaurant by walking around with these glasses on, we'll be able to get to that point because we can see more things through our glasses. Or, for example, if we're talking to someone in a language we don't understand, or if we're reading a menu in a language we don't know, thanks to these glasses, we'll be able to do that. Just take a look at the full intro from Google regarding the potential applications of these glasses.
For most of the history of computing, we have used a rectangular screen. Whether it's monitors, laptops, tablets, or phones, XR has the power to transcend those boundaries.
I think now is the perfect time to work on XR, because we are seeing the convergence of all these technologies, and Gemini is key to powering Android XR. The core technology allows us to process signals from all these different sources, just like you process the real world. The magical thing about XR is that it brings the computer to a place that feels really natural, just as you imagine it. Android XR is our new platform for headsets and glasses. It offers some of the best tools for developers.
We've been in this space since the days of Google Glass, and we haven't stopped. Things like AirCore, Geospatial API, Lens, Live View, Translate, and now Gemini.
We can take those experiences that are already working great and find new ways to be helpful to people.
When we talk about headsets and glasses, we think of headsets as episodic products that you put on for a specific reason.
When you watch a game, Gemini could break down everything about Freddy's Big Bell. How really cool.
Hello!
What would you like to order, please?
People gogs.
Yes, that's $16. Oh, and I only saw cash. Thank you.
Personally, I think that when something like this enters the real world, we have AGI, which is the application of generative artificial intelligence. Bringing the language model Gemini 2.0, which came from Google, into the real world, for example, through glasses, is like stepping into a Matrix Level 3. So I believe it's powerful enough that it's worth keeping an eye on. And I'll keep you updated on this channel, because this first piece of information is something very strong, especially since two companies are taking on this project. It's not just Meta doing this, it's Google with Android and Samsung. Google is still pulling ahead of us. See for yourselves how it looked. OpenAI came out with ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is 2 years old, and it's constantly evolving, but it was Google that was initially very behind, and shareholders were wondering if Google would really be able to keep up in this race. It turns out that it probably will, because Google has introduced VEO 2, which is a response to SORA that was released by OpenAI. SORA is also about generating a video based on a written prompt based on the text you input. You'll get a video at that moment, and Google has presented a new tool called VEO 2, which, according to commentators, critics, and people working in artificial intelligence, has more accurately replicated real movements from the physical world and importantly generates in 4K, so it's 4K video. You can see for yourselves this information is literally just a few days old. We can already see this on Google DeepMind, what case studies they wanted to present to us. And maybe, so we don't browse this page, just see for yourselves what Google has to offer. We should be able to use this model soon. And what's interesting about this model is that SORA, which is the same as the SORA from OpenAI, doesn't have the option for developers to connect via API. This means that developers, when they want to create an application, find it easier to connect to the API of that application so that they can, for example, build automation or some kind of AI agents, and they don't have to enter this application to perform some query to the application. They can just do it with a programming language, and this V2 from Google gives such a possibility. So this already shows that Google is more open to programming with it and to creating some programs or AI agents based on it. What we can notice is that when we have SORA Turbo and our model, the parameters are very similar. But I want to emphasize again that, as you saw in the previous video, the physics key is at a really, really nice level. And here we can also see on Twitter, one guy posted an additional shot of what these TVO2 look like. And you have to admit, well, you don't have to admit, but I'll tell you that I'm really impressed, because when I checked out language models like Runway or Stable Diffusion and even tried to animate them, creating some sort of animation, it just doesn't compare. This is really much higher quality. And more importantly, I see potential applications for it in the everyday world. And you have to admit, well, you don't have to admit, but I'll tell you that I'm really impressed, because when I checked out language models like Runway or Stable Diffusion, and even tried to animate them, creating some sort of animation, it just doesn't compare. This is really much higher quality. And more importantly, I see potential applications for it in the everyday world. So for example, we're shooting an ad at the company and we can use cutaways, generating shots with artificial intelligence. Will this create a complete ad on its own? I think someone really strong would have to be involved in this, someone who knows how to do these kinds of things. Maybe in this ad, the storytelling, the story itself would have to be much more important than just the image itself, because it's not quite the pattern we can normally achieve. Google DeepMind offers two things: Imagen 3, an image generator, and a competitive edge in the market. Imagen 3 is similar to Midjourney, another image platform, but on another level. I haven't tested it yet, but changes are happening rapidly with significant progress in image quality. These images are more realistic, reflecting the physical world accurately. Google continues to push forward. And what Imagen 3 did is, according to some, very similar to what Midjourney does, which is another image generation platform, but it's just the next level. I don't want to judge it. I haven't tested it yet. I haven't had the chance to try it out. However, we can see that changes are happening not just year by year, but month by month, with significant progress in the quality of generated images. They are of higher quality and more accurately reflect the real physical world. So here we have another thing from Google that keeps pushing forward. 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 Another thing from Google is that they released Whisk, which is a platform where we can remix certain types of photos and create a full-fledged shot from them. For example, we take our face, we add some background that we want, and we apply a style. So for example, we want to look like a Tom and Jerry cartoon, to have a style like that. We put in our face and add some background that we want to appear on. I will never stop. There's no way I'm backing down. I do everything I can. Yes, I will do it. We've probably been in this episode for a few minutes now, and I still haven't talked about the new things that have come up in OpenAI. Now we're going back to OpenAI to talk about what has happened in the last few days. For those who don't know, OpenAI announced that from December 1st to 12th, they will be releasing a new feature every day. We're now on day 10, which is Thursday. The 10th, Thursday. Sorry. So the 10th day is Wednesday, and Thursday will be the 11th day, and Friday is supposed to be the final day, which is the 12th day. There's a lot of speculation that maybe an advanced AI agent model will be showcased then. But first, let me tell you what happened on the 10th day. Day 10 was the introduction of GPT chat, which you can add to your contacts and chat with. So in the United States, you can enter a number into your phone and call GPT chat. But for users around the world, This is a pretty positive piece of news, I think, because they don't need to have an account, they don't have to pay for the GPT chat, and they can just call this phone number and chat. From what I know, it's 15 minutes for free every day. The second thing is that for people who are not in the United States, there's the option to add it on WhatsApp and either call or even chat with the OpenAI model through the GPT chat on WhatsApp without having to go into the GPT chat app. From what I know, that's also possible for free, but I think it's also 15 minutes a day. Earlier, what we had in the previous days was on day 9, where we added a feature specifically for developers, which means improvements in how the GPT chat endpoint communicates with the program that a given developer is, in fact, working on. So the main things are that we can call functions in the application, which is also an option specifically for developers. This means that when developers are testing their code, they don't have to copy and paste that code into their program. They can directly test and call functions by writing in the GPT chat. And there's also a reduction in costs, mainly for audio tokens, which were already very cheap. For example, in applications that use voice to respond to questions, it's now 10 times cheaper than it was before. And there are some additional improvements that are more technical, and I think that's for now. On the 8th day, which was quite interesting, we now have the GPT search, a search engine where we can look up information from the GPT chat. But what's new now is that we can talk to the artificial intelligence, the GPT chat, and it will check real-time data on the internet and give us answers. So we can ask things like what the Bitcoin price is today, what's the current Bitcoin price, what's the weather like in Spain today, or what's the weather going to be like next week in Madrid, for example. So the artificial intelligence searches for data on the internet and gives us a very specific answer in real time, or at least one that is found at that moment online. Let's move on. We have 11 Labs. 11 Labs has introduced a new model, Flash 2.5. 11 Labs is a Polish program, a Polish unicorn valued at over $1 billion, and 11 Labs is great for developers. Not just for developers, but also for people who work with content. It's such an interesting program because it allows us to dub materials in other languages, but also to dub our own voice and create our own voice models. Just like I'm speaking now, I could record my voice, upload it to the 11 Labs program, and after properly training my voice, I can write an entire A4 page will be read in my voice by the artificial intelligence that has learned my voice. And now the Flash 2.5 model has been created, and just take a look at what it can do.
We asked ourselves how quickly we can generate a high-quality model.
Introducing Flash. Speech generation in under 75 milliseconds.
This is the fastest model in its class. Now, AI agents can maintain a natural rhythm of conversation.
Yes, of course. Your order should arrive around 2 p.m.
In games, characters can respond with real spontaneity, and every interaction feels immediate and natural. And all of this is possible in 32 different languages. Ready to transform your applications. Start building with Flash today. The lowest latency of text-to-speech technology that sounds human-like.
As we can see here on Twitter, sorry for the interruption, but this is really fast generation, especially from what I've seen on Twitter. They're already saying goodbye to call center departments because I don't know if you get these kinds of calls, but for a while now, when some people call me, I'm just talking to artificial intelligence. I mean, someone wants me to talk to it, but of course, I'm not actually having a conversation. But if we're creating some chatbots in the company, and we want to give our clients a deeper immersion in our company's experiences, we have, for example, in the GPT chat in our AI agency that we created for ourselves, or a company, ours, for example, created such an AI agent for you, then we can add a voice feature there. It could be the voice of your employees, or it could be the voice of the owner of the company. And it won't just be typing on a chatbot like most companies have been doing so far. We can now add direct voice to it. And if there's a very relational communication with clients in the company, it might be worth considering whether, for example, if we have a client login portal, we have some places where we've been responding to our clients verbally to communicate with them through the knowledge base that we've trained in our language model. This is for checking. We deal with things like that. So if you'd like to implement something like this in your own organization, I think it's worth having a conversation to create some kind of MVP model. And it's not just about creating a new program completely from scratch, because most companies are already using some kind of software. So with automation, we can connect to the endpoints of various applications. When I say endpoints, I mean connecting to different applications and create automation between them by implementing artificial intelligence into these processes. And then if we decide that maybe not for the client, but for someone in another department, it's worth presenting something so they don't have to read it. Artificial intelligence can format all that content that needs to be conveyed, like a large PDF, into a few key bullet points, into a few highlights, and then, for example, it can be read in your voice. So someone on their way from a meeting can just listen to it. This is one of those quick things that come to my mind. So it's a good solution from 11 Labs to build, for example, an AI agent or use it as an extension in your own company.
Building AI agents that can speak is now easier than ever.
Hey, what would you like to talk about today?
Running conversational artificial intelligence with 11 Labs. Create, test, and implement everything on one platform to communicate with technology in the most natural way.
Hi, can I check the status of my order? Yes, of course.
Let me check that for you now. Your order should arrive around 2 o'clock. Building conversational AI agents used to be incredibly complicated and required huge resources, but not anymore. Start building your agent by creating a voice or browsing our extensive high-quality library to find the perfect one for your application.
Welcome to DHK Online. How can I help you today?
Thanks to a wide selection of the best LLM models, you can then upload your knowledge base and define the goal and personality of your agent. Alternatively, you can integrate your own server to have full control.
Hi, this is Eric's Bound Events. How can I help you?
I accidentally bought a ticket twice. Could I please request a refund?
Of course. Please read your reference number, and I can start reading it right away.
Our system will analyze and evaluate your transcripts, providing valuable insights, the ability to replay the conversation, and to test and define success criteria. And all of this is possible in 32 different languages.
Welcome to DC Medical. How can I help?
Hi, do you speak Spanish?
Yes, definitely. Of course I speak Spanish.
And the best part is, you can easily deploy your agent on websites with just one copy and paste. Or use our SDK to create applications, services, or even video games. Whatever you're creating, launch it in production within days, not months. And all of this with enterprise-level security to protect your users' data. It's time to discover the huge potential of conversational artificial intelligence with 11 Labs.
And now we move on to the next piece of news, which is, well, I don't know if it's interesting, but it seems to me that there might be some resistance on my part to adopting new technologies, which is usually caused by some change. However, what we see on X is that China is starting to mass produce AI robots for stores and warehouses.
China plans to mass-produce humanoid robots by 2025. And in this recent video we received from a company called Agentspace, a Shanghai-based firm focused on the development and production of humanoid and delivery robots, we got to see firsthand how the world is actively changing behind the scenes. This is a company specializing in humanoid robots that will work in your homes and factories around the world. And recently they decided, to step on the gas and ensure that they will be leaders in the field of humanoid robots. So they decided to ramp up the production of these robots and increase the quantity they will produce. We now have Amazon-style warehouses where hundreds of thousands of people work.
The question is, what will these people do with their jobs? Not everyone even wants to work in other jobs. Either there aren't such possibilities or whatever. This is not very good news for me, unfortunately, as you might understand, I think, from my perspective. On one hand, it's about cost optimization, but on the other hand, it seems we're moving towards guaranteed basic income so that people just get money and don't have to work, which is more socialist than capitalist. But without getting into political topics, let's move on. We have some information for developers that until now, if you were using GitHub for programming and you were paying for it, you had Copilot. Today, for the most part, it will just be free. And finally, I have some very interesting information for companies. This is something that as soon as I saw it, I immediately signed up to be one of the first to get access to it. Namely, most companies use Google Workspace, which includes email accounts, drives, and so on. Everything is one place. As a company, we operate in ClickUp. We have systems for project management. and managing various internal tasks for clients. Well, but usually the flow of information hasn't been as straightforward as it might be with this new program that Google is introducing called Agentspace. I'll show you actually. You can see for yourselves what the potential possibilities will be.
Sam is a marketer at Symbol, a company specializing in health and fitness technology. Sam is getting ready to write a press release about the new connected water bottle with a hydro connection from Symbol. Her first step is to visit the personalized homepage of Agentspace. Agentspace provides enterprise knowledge to employees through agents that combine Gemini's advanced reasoning, high-quality Google search, and company data, regardless of where it's stored. There, she looks for existing press releases that she could base the one about the hydro connector on. The highest rated suggestion is a notebook. Sam opens the notebook. Experience in Agentspace to check its content and adds it to the session to prioritize it for the agent. Agentspace found the information Sam was looking for in just a few seconds. Points them out for use throughout the entire project. This kind of close collaboration between the employee and the agent allows for achieving optimal results. Next, Sam looks for the brand guidelines for the symbol. Agentspace provides a detailed summary of the guidelines. And in the response sources, Sam finds a shared resource folder in SharePoint, which she also adds to the conversation context. Once he has his sources, he asks Agentspace to create a press release, making sure to include information about the symbol's partnership with ACMA, a chain of fitness clubs and spas. To do this, she calls upon a specialized multi-step planning agent. The task generates a plan on how to execute it, and searches through vast amounts of available internal and public data to find the answers needed to carry out the plan. In just a few minutes, the agent has all the information it needs. This task would have taken Sam hours, if not days, of tedious research, sifting through countless documents and manually piecing together the application. Agentspace did the hard work and verified it according to the company's policies and brand guidelines. The project that Sam receives is high quality and almost final when she starts creating the audio summary. Thanks to the integration with Google's media models like Imagen, VEO, and Lyria, Sam can generate rich resources without leaving Agentspace. First, she generates an image for the press release. Now she asks for a similar image with a different background. Finally, she can use this new image as a basis for the video content. Feeling that this is a very shareable clip, Sam wants to share it with the social media team. Thanks to access to the Symbol Company knowledge graph, Agentspace knows who Sam is referring to. After sending the email and preparing the audio summary of the LM notebook, Sam can sit down and listen to it while multitasking.
Usually because I don't drink enough water. Interesting, so this whole thing with the smart water bottle.
How do I see it? The way I see it, we have companies, we have data, we have PDFs, we have invoices, we have all the HR stuff, we have design stuff, we have things for clients, and we have everything on our OneDrive. From what I see so far, this is from Atlassian. So we have Confluence and Jira, which should be under Google Workspace, but I'm not sure if the Google icon directly corresponds to that workspace that could potentially exist. But if such a database were to be built, then first of all, we have one huge agent in our company, and every new employee who joins our organization can type in and chat just like before. We can feed the chat with data, and that chat can provide the relevant information based on what we feed it, our departments. However, this is a bit of a shift to a different ecosystem. It's about getting into the chat, teaching people how to use this chat, and honestly, it's not that simple for people to want to do it. We can feed the chat with data, and this chat can share the appropriate information as we, our departments, feed it. This is a shift to a new ecosystem. Teaching people to use the chat isn't simple. They might use it once or twice, and you need to keep adding new information. You must return to the GPT chat and feed it new data. With Google Cloud, we manage company, project, and employee documentation there. They might use it once or twice, and then you have to add new information. You have to go back into the GPT chat and feed it with new information. And with Google Cloud, we have something where we manage our company documentation, project documentation, internal stuff, employee-related things. We have everything there. And now we give access, we grant permissions for different departments, for different people. Depending on who has what access, they can see that information. He needs to search for some information. He automatically has it. If I need to look up some information about a specific file, I also have Google Search, so I can ask more questions without leaving this ecosystem at all. Super interesting option. I'm really curious about the API possibilities. Connecting it and creating some kind of automation, which is what we focus on. We can already see the potential to dive into this application and connect it, for example, with ClickUp or add extra functionalities. That's it for this week. There are a few strong points. I'll let you know as soon as day 12 rolls around if it turns out that OpenAI introduces anything interesting. And see you in the next AI news. See you. For now, hi.